Your own understanding, truth under Babylon's empiricism. What up? Real quick discussion in regard to, once again, the indigenous. That's my theme. It's my theme of redemption here. So, this is very important, actually. This is about reality. We have to face it. Reality has to be faced. You can't just understand something or try not to understand something on purpose. I should say. Maybe, I don't know, lack of ambition for information, just lack of interest, preoccupation, business, perhaps. So, you are indigenous, you are, as a tree, you have roots which sustain your existence. You have been, you are being actually continually cut off from that root. What is the root? Your natural environment that will sustain you indefinitely. How you break down the life cycles of the sustaining of the indigenous, that has been broken, and it eludes me, so I don't know exactly how sustainable, but very, very sustainable it is. The life force, the human indigenous biological life force, environmental system, that connection. Like I said, once again, like a tree, roots to the tree. It holds it dear. So now that we understand what you are, let's talk about what's going on. So, you as a collective, indigenous biological being with roots connected to the environment. Up, down, left, right, north, south, east, west. Your roots. Electromagnetic spectrum, your roots. Everything else, your roots. Now, you break that down, you break off the connection by fucking with the biology. So you fuck with the biology of the indigenous, then you break the connection. You break that you weaken that connection that you have with the environment. And anything created outside of the indigenous, using the indigenous, is a hybrid. Anything other than the indigenous form is a hybrid. Hold on, I think I might be a little parched because I think my lips are sticking together for some reason. My apologies. Anything that comes from the indigenous, not of the indigenous, is a hybrid. Now, hybridization takes place through genetic experiments, genetic manipulation. So, when you break down that biology, you break down those genetics, you become recessive, along with the hybridization process that takes place. So now, you're being broken down. Your root, your connection to that root is being chipped away at. The only way to reclaim the connection is to reclaim indigenous status. Once you reclaim indigenous status, all of the other aptitudes from the different hybridization processes coming from the indigenous have to take notice and have to come to terms with that reality on the world stage. It has to happen. You can't deny it. Any denying is pure evil. So, once you reclaim your indigenous status, You then reclaim the connection, the natural connection you have to land on paper and literally. Now, that reality is a hard pill to swallow. Another hard-ass pill to swallow is learning from what has already taken place. If you know hybridization is what got us here, got the indigenous here in the first place, why continue? So I'm not speaking hate, I'm not speaking malicious separatism, I'm not speaking classism or naturalism for that matter. I'm speaking about life and understanding. If you care about life, and your natural connection, your natural root to the environment, you will buck up and reclaim your indigenous status and understand the biological aspects of being indigenous and mixing genetics and the detriment behind it. Hard pill to swallow. You gotta chuck it down. You cannot mix cultures that do not know or understand each other. It's like taking R&B and rock and roll, mixing it together, meshing it together, and just playing it without trying to fine tune it and everything like that. Try to get it to make sense, to create beings that will understand what the fuck that even is as a sound system. Like, you just can't do it. So if you vibe a certain way, you have to vibe with others that vibe with you. And likewise, and otherwise, you have to do the same thing. But the problem with that is, once again, understand the reality behind that. The hybridization process creates inferior genetics, recessive genes. What will be a world of hybrids with no connection, no root, but to create one synthetically to sustain a life? That sounds like a synthetic hybrid to me, that needs the indigenous in order to survive, that needs the indigenous not to be able to understand what they are and how others are affecting them. They need integration. They need a situation where they dictate what happens. Because if the indigenous wake up and on the world stage reclaim their indigenous status and make people face the reality of that, that's something unprecedented, but it definitely has to happen. And unfortunately, if you do the math on the hybrids and the life force, the biological life force, and the system that sustains them, what do you come up with? So, that pill, pull it out of its fucking dumpster, push it down your motherfucking neck, because it's reality. They know this, but you don't.